If you're rebuilding the same layout again and again in InDesign, you're wasting hours. You should be using templates. In this video, I'm going to talk you through a template process which will save you hours and boost your productivity, cutting out all the repetitive tasks so you've got templates on hand for every project you start. My name is Darren Goddard and let's jump into it. Most people design like this. They have duplicate files in their folder when they should be working off one InDesign template. They copy and paste. It's a manual process. It works, but it's slow and inconsistent. This is the solution I'm going to show you today. Use InDesign templates. So you have project 1, project 2 for client A, and then you've got client B, project 1. Let's jump into InDesign and I'll take you through this step by step. So here in InDesign, we're going to set this up print, but it also works for working with digital files. So the first thing we want to do is go up to Edit, Transparency Blend Space, and make sure your document is set to CMYK. Obviously, if you want an RGB output, then you select Document RGB. We're going to work with an A4 document, so I'm going to do Command N on the keyboard. I'm going to select, and I'm going to type in 210, 297. I'm not going to have facing pages because I don't want it as a magazine. I want it as like a poster format. I'm going to keep with one column. I'm going to make my margins 10 millimeters. So basically, I don't want anything outside 10 millimeters. I'm going to set some bleed. I'm going to have 5mm bleed, which will be all the way around. Slug, I'm not going to worry about a slug. You can use a slug, and this is for when you want to put a media bar on your work, so you can keep a record of it. But for this purpose, we're just going to stick with the bleed. So we're going to create this, and there you see we've got our first document. The purple line, this indicates the margin. Then the red line on the outside, this indicates the bleed that I've set up. So what's the first thing we'll do? Well, the first thing I like to do is to set up color swatches. So all the colors that the client's going to use in this template. So we'll go over to the swatches panel. You can see it's highlighted here. If you can't see it, you go up to window, color, and then swatches. So this will open up. As this is a clean install from InDesign, it always puts in default colors. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go up to here. I'm going to go select all unused colors. And then I'm going to delete those, and that'll give us a clean slate. So we'll have the black and we'll have white. So the first color I'm going to set up is obviously something I'm going to make up for a client. So you can have the swatch name as the swatch values or the name of the color. So in this instance, we're going to make it red. So, and then we're going to make a red color. So we'll take the black slider down, put the magenta at 100%, and we'll put the yellow at 85%, which will give us like a red color, and we'll okay that. So now we've got our red swatch, and we'll just make a couple of others. So we'll add another one, which will copy that one. Or if we want to, we could just go up to here and we could create a new one, and then it will just open this up. Again, it will always pick up the last one. So we'll make a blue. So we'll call this one blue. We'll put 100% cyan, we'll go 90% magenta and 0 yellow. Then we'll save that. So we'll hit OK, and we've saved that into our swatches palette. We'll create one more. We'll do a green. So again, it will select that one, it will duplicate it. We'll double click, call it green. We'll just remove the 90 from there, and we'll put in 80% yellow, which will give us a green color. So now we've got all our swatches for this client in our swatches panel. So the next thing I like to do is set up my character styles and paragraph styles. So we'll go under type, come down to character styles, and as I had it docked here, it opened there. So we'll select new character style, and we'll call this one headline. So here we get to change the color, the font, all the spacing, and all the relevant details you need. So you can pick your font family. So for this one, I'm going to go for Helvetica. Typed in Helvetica, so we'll click that. And as it's a heading, we'll go for bold. So size wise, we'll make it 18 point. Leading, we'll put it on automatic. Tracking, we'll keep it at 0. Kerning, we'll make that metrics. So metrics for kerning is the distance between each character. Leading, it's a line feed between the baseline of the character and the next character and the next line. So this is called the leading. So there's lots of different things here, which I won't go into detail now, but if you want a dedicated video on character styles, let me know in the comments below, and then we'll just go for color. So as it's a heading, we'll make this one red, and we'll okay that. So we now got our heading there. So what we'll do now, we'll make a body copy one. So we'll go new character style, call this body. Again, we'll go on to Helvetica. We'll make it regular, and we'll make this one 10 point. Again, we'll leave the leading on auto. tracking, we'll stick that on 0, and the kerning, we'll go over metrics again. Tracking is how tight the actual characters are on a word. So you can track the whole sentence, a whole word. So the thing to remember is tracking is between words and kerning is between characters. So if you cut a whole word and you adjust this, the whole word, all the distance between the characters will change. And this one's for individual, and then we'll OK that. Now we'll go down to character color, and for body copy, 9 times out of 10, you'll be having black, and we'll click it as an overfill. So if it goes over another color, it will overprint when we output it, and we'll OK that. So now in our character styles, we've got a body and we've got a headline. So now we'll set up our paragraph styles. Once again, you can find this over here. So this will pick up the last character style you have selected. So we'll do the headline first. So then we'll click back on there, new, go heading. And then you can see it's pulled through all the values that we had when we set up the character style, in even down to the colors. Where we go, colors, we've got the red here. There are lots and lots of different things we can play about with here. Once again, if you want a dedicated video on paragraph styles, let me know in the comments below. But for this, we're just going to go top line. We're not going to go very granular. So basically, indents and spacings, this is the main one you probably want to use. So you can have space after, space before, and various indents and how you're going to align. So we'll go align center because it's a heading, and then space after will have 5mm. So if you're having like 2 paragraphs, then you'll have 5mm between them, and they'll be centered. So we'll just OK that for now. So we've got the heading one. So the easiest way, once again, if we go back to the character styles, go onto body, and then go back to the paragraph styles, new one, and we'll call this body. Once again, you'll see when we get to it, there we have it. Everything's the same as what we set up before. And then indents and spacing, we'll go left aligned because it's actually body copy. So we want it left aligned. And then we'll have space after, we'll have 5mm again. And then basically what will happen now is every time you do it, start a new paragraph, you'll have 5mm after it. Character color, once again, is black, and the overprint's pulled through as well. So we'll OK that. So now we've got our paragraph styles. So now what I like to do is I like to place some placeholder text in. So we'll go into pages, onto the parent page, the master page, just draw a box, and we'll just type in heading. Select that. Then we'll go to our character styles and change that to heading. And you can see it's just put the font, which we set up here, bold 18. And then we'll go to paragraph styles and we'll apply the heading. And now it's centered it as well. So what we'll do now, we'll just hit a return. So once again, you can see if I type in body copy, it will follow on because we're still on heading. We need to change this now. So we'll change that to body, and it's shot over to the left hand side, and then we'll have to go into the characters and change that to body. Select it and change it to body, and now you can see it's taken the Helvetica 10 point, which is what we did. We can select that, copy that, and just paste some placeholder text in. Or the other way to do it is now we've got the font in there, we can go up to type, fill with placeholder text, and it will give us some lorem ipsum, which is like a Latin placeholder text. And because we've set up the paragraph styles, you can see we've got a nice 5mm between each one. So that's how you set up that. One thing you can also do is set up some placeholders for text boxes. So just place some frames in there, and then if you go back to your pages, close that window there, onto your pages. So now when you open your document, you're going to see a placeholder where you've got your font, your colors, and a dummy layout. So you're just thinking, this is just a basic InDesign file. Well, up until now it has been, but this is where it changes because it's the way you save the file. You save it as a template rather than a regular InDesign file. And that way it can be reused time and time again without worrying about overwriting it. So literally go up to File, Save As, and then this is the default InDesign document. But what you'll need to do is change that to template. And then if we put client C underscore project 1, and then we'll save that. So now we'll go onto a desktop and I'll show you how this works. So we'll close that, go to where we've got our files. So we can see, as I showed you at the beginning, we've got the INDT prefix here. So now you can see these match the other ones I showed you at the beginning, INDT at the end, which is the extension for a template. So now if I double click on that, it opens as an untitled file. If we go over to here, we'll see all the colors we saved. I'll just close that, and then we can go up to and look at our character styles. We've got the body and the headline, and the paragraph styles, we've got the body and the headline, and then we've also got our placeholder image. Working like this separates the pros from the beginners. It's a reusable system which will speed up your workflow no end. Once you start using templates properly, you'll never look back. Let me know in the comments if you're using templates already, and if you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to push your productivity even further, then you should watch the next video on the screen here. Thanks, and like always, keep creating.